fastest days of truth.
Testing, yeah. Hey, let's hear it for Tanavi right here. What do you say? Come on. What about these glasses? I call them my Jack Nicholsons. What do you think? Yeah. Okay. Enough of that.
Cool.
Enough of that Hollywood stuff. All right, here we go.
All right, guys, how you doing? Look who it is, Sam J. Jones, everyone. Say hi.
Yeah.
How often do you get caught wearing glasses indoors?
What, indoors?
Yeah.
Well, when I think it's cool.
So every day?
Yeah. It's you know, sometimes, well, you know, I had an eye injury from a stunt, so I had a little eye surgery. So I had to wear these indoors for a while. So I decided, well, I think I'll just keep them, you know.
It just looks better.
Yeah.
And obviously, we know you from loads of different films, but especially Flash Gordon. And you've done dozens of Comic Cons. Is there any that particularly stand out for you? You don't have to say MCM. But over the years, any particularly memorable cons for you?
Well, yeah, I mean, they're always memorable because we get to travel the world, get to meet you, you know. As a matter of fact, I'm making 5 trips to the UK this year. I've already done Liverpool, London now. I'll be in Belfast and Dublin and Glasgow. Yeah.
Fantastic.
But, you know, they're becoming more and more memorable because the additional cities I travel to that I've never been, I get to hear your story. You know, it's your opportunity to tell me what impact or influence that myself or the movies had on your life. So I really get to hear some unique stories.
Yeah,
and,
such as what?
Pardon me?
Such as what?
Well, I mean, they're usually entertainment-based, you know, which is, obviously, that's what it comes down to. But I've had some couple that were actually life-changing. I mean, other than getting phone calls from, you know, these Hollywood decision makers who were once 8, 9-year-old children who saw Flash Gordon, and they grew up to be decision makers like Seth MacFarlane and Matt Riley over at Fox Studios, who, you know, are now hiring me. I get, for instance, I had a 40-year-old man come up to me, I think it was in Liverpool, and he had his beautiful wife and his children with me, and he said, you know, when I was 12 years old, I grew up, I had a very tough childhood, very, very abusive childhood, and I went into my room where he had a VHS machine, and he decided he was going to end his life. But the last second, he said, let me put in the Flash Gordon movie. He said, Sam, when I saw your movie for that time right then and there, you not only transported me to another time and place, but you gave me hope. You gave me value as a person, and I decided I was going to live. And that's, I mean, you know, I had to turn away because you know, it's very emotional. But so it takes it out of the category of entertainment-based to life-changing. And here he is, 40 years old, beautiful wife, beautiful children. And so the impact it had on me was, wait a minute, he would not be standing here right now with this beautiful family had it not been for his decision to view Flash Gordon one more time. So, come on, man. That's huge.
Wow.
That's huge.
Well, I know that Flash Gordon influenced my life because I was one of those 80s kids who decided to play the tree stump game and put their hand in the unknown holes. Did you realize that was going to become a fad?
That was the wood beast. The wood beast, the arm and the trunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the, I mean, some of the fans that tell me now when they tell me their story, that was very substantial in their life where it scared the living you-know-what out of them.
Yeah.
They really, I mean, as a child, it was almost, I was like watching a horror film, especially the actor before me, Peter Duncan, by the way. He's the one that, you know, the wood beast actually killed him. And then it was my turn to do it, and it was like, oh, is Flash going to die as well? But I tricked him, didn't I?
Yeah.
James Bond, I tricked James Bond, didn't I? Yes.
And working with Timothy Dalton, I mean, how...
Well, here you go. Come on. You there?
How was it working with Bond?
So I'm going to interview you. How was it working with Timothy? Great guy. You know, the Yankees and the Brits, we have a lot of history. You know that. Come on. And what was cool working with Timothy, great actor, this is, remember, 38 years ago. And we were taught by a bullwhip master, you know, for our fight scene, how to use a real bullwhip. So we had this agreement, you know, on the rotating disc. Not only did we have the dynamics of the rotating disc and the spikes and the elevation and the movement, but we had real bullwhips. So Timothy and I, before we started filming, after we rehearsed for weeks, we said, okay, Tim, I said, let's be cool. Let's try to keep a distance. You know, we don't want to hit each other. You know, if we hit the body, that's fine. But if we hit the face, that's going to be an issue. So we both agreed to be very careful not to whip each other with the bullwhip. So as soon as we started filming, he took that bullwhip and he was a little bit too close, and he slashed me right across my lower neck. And I said, "Game on, baby! It's the Yankees and the Brits. Here we go." So I mean, we really had some. I mean, so it really sort of complemented one another and brought out. We improvised an ad lib, but it was wonderful. It was great.
It sounds fantastic, and obviously you filmed in London. So
Yeah.
how...
Are we off, Mark? Are we still on camera here?
So, okay, do you want to have a
Yeah,
seat?
wait.
Sure.
Are we in frame? No, we're out of
think we-
frame?
I think we're...
No, okay, so maybe we should sit back down, right?
Might be easier.
So that camera person you are the camera person. You're not. All right.
No, it's just
we got a
not.
camera sitting on a tripod, so we better
Over
sit.
here, we can do it
Oh,
over
there
here.
you are.
There we are.
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, how was it for you living in London
What, now or then?
then?
Then. Oh, it was great. I mean, I lived in Chelsea for 3 months, or 2.5 months. I lived in Mayfair for 2.5 months. Mayfair was crazy. I had a tree in my living room, okay? I had a tree. It was huge. I just enjoyed it. I mean, for me, usually when you're the lead actor, yeah, you're in a lot, but you're usually not in every single scene. So, I mean, I didn't have time. My greatest moment of filming every day was being able to go to the loo. I'm serious. Was to be able to get something to eat or to go to the loo. But it was just work. I mean, up at 4 a.m., I would run Hyde Park every single morning, be at the studio, I don't know, 16 hours, 17 hours, and we would rehearse a scene. And then physically they'd drag me into the next set. We'd shoot a scene, tough scenes with Ornella Muti and with Melody Anderson. Yeah,
very difficult.
It's wonderful. And then, of course, fight scene. And it was nonstop. It was nonstop. So now, and the reason why I tell you that, so it was sort of difficult to enjoy the moment at that time. Now, as the years go on, I get to do these special private screenings with the fans. And so I'll go into the movie theater, a local theater with you guys, anywhere from 300 to 1,000 people, and I get to sit back and enjoy those moments from many years ago, and that's when I get to enjoy it.
Absolutely. I mean, at the time, there were plans to make a movie trilogy. Do you regret
Yes.
that not happening at all?
Well, I mean, look, it's funny about the film industry. There's really no rhyme or reason why they don't do the sequel or part two. But however, Fox Studios has had bought the screenplay rights, and Flash Gordon, the sequel or the reboot or whatever you want to call it, has been in development for over 2 years. And I just talked to the senior producers, John Davis, and they're probably a year away, but I believe it's going to happen. But
Okay.
initially, I signed for 6 sequels in 1979.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But there's really no rhyme or reason. I mean, sometimes it's usually 20 to 30 years later, they actually do a sequel.
That's true. Top Gun 2 is coming out.
Yeah, but we're talking, I believe this will happen, it's going to be closer to 40 years before the sequel happens,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, they did do a reboot. Sci-Fi in 2010 made a series. What was it like watching?
Are you talking about the series in Vancouver?
Yes.
Yeah, 2007, right?
2007?
2000,
10, I think.
Because I did an
What was it?
episode, I played a really crazy character by the name of Kreb, who lived in the dungeon for 20 years.
So what was it like seeing someone else play Flash Gordon?
Yeah, Eric Johnson. It was fine. You know, it's a funny story with Eric. When I did Flash Gordon in '79, the original Flash Gordon, Buster Crabbe, decided to help us promote the movie. So we traveled together. How many remember Buster Crabbe? Okay, he's the original, right? From the 50s and all that. Anyway, long story short, Buster sort of blessed me back then and passed the baton to me and spoke a blessing over my life as the new Flash Gordon. So when I was asked to go to Vancouver to do a guest spot on the Flash Gordon TV series, I decided to do the same thing to Eric Johnson, to sort of bless him and pass the baton. But remember now, when I showed up on the set, he wasn't there yet. So I had to spend 4 hours in hair and makeup. This creepy looking, sort of a cross between Walking Dead and a homeless guy. Seriously. You know, just think, I had lesions and open sores all over my face. I had black teeth. I had long stringy hair from this guy who spent 20 years in a dungeon. So by the time Eric walked on the set, he'd never met me before. He has not seen me before, or probably, you know, in the movies. So as he walks on the set, he sees me as this really weird, scary-looking character. And I wanted to stay in character as well, and I had that creepy kind of voice going on, like this, you know. So we did our scene, and I said, hey, Eric, I want to share something with you. You know, I was going to pass the baton to him. I said, follow me. He goes, where are we going? I said, I want to take you outside here. I got something I want to do for you. So he was very hesitant. He was very leery, and I could tell he was a little bit scared. So I took him outside, and I told him the story, exactly what I just told you. I now bless you. Buster Crabbe did it to me. For you to carry on the baton, you're the new Flash Gordon. And he looked at me and he said, okay, and he walked away. You know, so
Ran away.
It just didn't happen. I scared the living doo-doo out of him, you know, because I was talking like this, you know. Anyway, that was the Eric Johnson story of me passing the blessing on to him.
Well, brilliant. I think to us and to many, many people around the world, you will always be our Flash Gordon. Thank
on.
you very much for talking to us.
Thank you
Miss
so
Sam
much.
J.
Danavi,
Jones.
all right. Yeah, I'm here all day, so come on down. All right, and you'll be here all day as well, right, Danavi? Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.